Alright everyone, it's time for a fairly simplistic video, kind of straightforward, which is we shall not fall, stop worrying and start fighting. Again, going along with sort of the maybe more motivational stuff that I've been making here. So it's time for your daily pep talk, or it won't be a daily thing. Like as politics gets more prominent as the election draws closer and closer, I'll be doing a hell of a lot of political analysis. I still want to do more MREs. I'd still need to get out and do gardening stuff, but I haven't felt well, so fuck it. Basically, the idea is this. If you look at life, if you look at the world around you, just take a look around you, like at the room you're in or whatever. Look at the technology and shit. Every single thing that you see there was built by struggle and hardship and pain. Competition often to the detriment of one person over another, and so forth. It was built by struggle. This is just the cultural and technological offshoot of biological evolution. The only way in which evolution can take place, which is not one directional, it's branched and sort of undulates around in accordance with its own laws. Evolution is driven by destruction. That is, in order for, like a population, in order for a bacterium to develop resistance to some antibiotic, first you have to wipe out legions and legions of that bacteria with the antibiotic, selecting for the strong over time, either naturally or artificially, and then eventually something else is built. You can actually see this. They did an experiment. This was an interesting one. I think it was Harvard that did this one. They did a time-lapse of some auger plates. They had a big platform of auger. It was arranged into stages, and each successive stage had more of a certain what would you call it, antibiotic. I can't remember whether it was a virus and it was an antiviral material they were using or an antibiotic or something. A topical one, I believe. Each section then had more of a concentration of this chemical in it that would kill the bacteria. So the outside had none, and towards the middle was like thousands and thousands of times what would otherwise be effective. They introduced the bacteria onto the outside of the auger plates, and of course it starts proliferating. It hits the edge of that area, and anything else can't go beyond it. If it does, it dies. But eventually it does manage to penetrate. It works its way through, and it continues to do this step by step until the entire plate has been covered. What you have done is you've just seen, number one, you've seen proof of evolution, but I know a lot of religious people won't accept that. I don't know why, dude. I don't know. I can't stand with moralism on much of anything, but especially on evolution because it's so self-evident and observable. You can actually see progress taking place. Now, of course, this is only for one specific genetic trait in that life form, and this is the biological side. Now, just think. Technology and linguistics and behavior and things like that evolve much more quickly than biology. That's what gives us an advantage. Ultimately, we're not that durable as a species. We're not really supposed to be living in the far, like, people technically should not be living in this climate. There's no particular biological way in which we could survive in this particular climate unless we have the intelligence, the technological know how to make fire, to take shelter, to create clothing, at least of a crude kind, and also to obtain food more easily. That's all non-biological. That's driven by technology. Well, I've developed the spear. This is going to be a lot better than trying to attack something with a rock in my hand. I've developed the ability to fire arrows. Now it's even better. Now I don't have to walk up to the bear and poke it with a spear first before I eat it. It's more easy. And so you are the result of successive generations that were always successful at replicating. Many of their lives were totally hard, but they've created now the world that we live in today. This is why I don't have ancestral guilt. We shouldn't even call it like some people say, like white guilt. No. It's just an attempt to make people feel guilty for their ancestors' actions. I'm responsible for my own actions. Basically, I can be proud of the past generations that came before me that sort of designed my genetic composition, but then you've got to take the torch up and do your own thing too. Don't rest on the laurels of people that are already dead. That's a pretty shitty way of living your life. So don't worry too much, because you're the product of billions of years of general success, actually. The fact that you are around at all means there's an unbroken line of going all the way back to some protozoan several billion years ago. And that's a little bit of a comforting thought. And you're shedding life, there's life crawling all over your body. You're literally seeding the world with it all the time. You walk through the woods and pick up seeds in your shoes and spread them around. You don't even realize how intrinsic you actually are to so many other life forms on a fairly regular basis. Well, we've got to fight censorship, because you got to keep being able to speak. Because thinking, linguistics being the powerful tool that it is, if it's throttled at all, it chokes back human progress. We've got to make sure that technology continues to advance and isn't misused. Preferably not to burn the entire world in atomic hellfire or something like that. And as well, human behavior, just on the biological end, people should be free. That's what I fight for anyway. And people can choose their own battles. Like, I'm going to have more respect for someone who fights hard for something I disagree with than someone who barely fights at all, even if I agree with them. And the former is more likely to be successful anyway, so it's like, pick the winning horse, I suppose. That's about all. Peace out.